The Great Wall of China. Imagine standing atop a rugged mountain-rigid dawn, the mist curling around ancient battlements stretching farther than the eye can see. This is the Great Wall of China, an emblem of empire and endurance. For centuries, it has inspired awe and tall tales. In one famous story, a woman's tears famously toppled part of the wall. In another, astronauts once boasted they could spot it from the moon. But how much of the wall's legend is fact and what is myth? Over the next 30 minutes, we'll peel back layers of time to discover the real story of the Great Wall, its origins, its builders, its purpose, and the truths behind its greatest myths. Ancient beginnings, fortresses and foes. Long before there was one Great Wall, there were many small walls. China's history of frontier defense goes back almost 3,000 years. During the chaotic spring and autumn, 770 to 476 BC, and warring states, 475 to 221 BC, periods, rival states built fortifications to protect their borders. For example, the state of Chu erected short mountain defenses around 656 BC, and the state of Qi by the 5th century BC had walls hundreds of kilometers long, remnants of Qi's walls still nigh in modern Shandong. These walls were usually made of tamped earth and wood. They were local projects, fragmentary lines of defense against nomadic raids, not one grand wall spanning the empire. Nevertheless, these early fortresses laid the foundation. Historians note that these state-built walls were the first sections of what would eventually become the structure known as the Great Wall of China, and in aggregate make the wall's history nearly 3,000 years old. Yet none of these walls could truly hold back the fierce cavalry beyond. The nomadic tribes of Inner Asia, the Xiongnu, the Rong, and others pressed at China's northern frontiers, and every few generations a new approach was tried. The Great Wall, as we think of it, only emerged when China was united. In 221 BC, Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, conquered all rival states and turned eastward to seal the borders. He ordered existing walls joined and new ones built into a complete defensive line across the north. Ancient annals describe Qin's work as packing earth and gravel between wooden frames, the classic rammed earth wall, and laying stone where mountains demanded it. The massive Qin project did not create a single unbroken wall, but a network of connected fortifications. As one scholar notes, these early walls were known as Changcheng, literally long walls, but often translated as Great Wall, mostly earthen structures built where natural barriers were weak. Unification to division, Han, Sui, and Song. After the Qin dynasty fell, China splintered again, but in 202 BC, the Han dynasty revived imperial unity. The Han took a broader view of north and extended walls far beyond the old Qin lines. They pushed westward into the deserts of today's Xinjiang to guard the Silk Road. By Han times, the wall reached the Jiayu Pass in Gansu province. The Han also garrisoned soldiers along the frontier and improved old walls. After the Han, Chinese dynasties had mixed policies. When China fractured, some northern regimes renewed walls. The Northern Qi dynasty, for example, built roughly 1,600 kilometers of new walls in Shanxi and Hebei. In 6th to 7th centuries, Sui emperors again mobilized enormous armies to rebuild frontier walls. Records claim that Sui Emperor Wen, rulers 581 to 604 AD, put 150,000 men to work, and his son, Emperor Yang, ruler 604 to 1618 AD, sent over 1 million laborers in 607 to 608 AD to construct a great wall from Yulin to Hohhot in today's Inner Mongolia. These builders slogged through mountains and deserts. According to Sui histories, some 500,000 men died in that massive wall effort, a figure that surely shocked contemporaries. In any case, the Sui walls didn't stand long. The dynasty collapsed in 1618 amid peasant uprisings. The succeeding Tang dynasty, 618 to 907, famously reversed course. Emperor Taizong refused to waste lives on static walls, preferring mobile armies. Legend has it he mocked the Sui walls as useless and dismissed calls to rebuild them. For several hundred years, the Great Wall largely fell into ruin or ignored. The Song dynasty, 960 to 1279, likewise did not build new frontier walls. Thus, from about the 7th through 12th centuries, no grand wall unified China. Instead, the frontier was policed by cavalry patrols and fortresses. The Ming Renaissance, stone and brick. Everything changed again in the 14th century. In 1368, the Ming dynasty overthrew the Mongol Yuan dynasty and restored Han Chinese rule. The new Ming emperors faced frequent raids by Mongol horsemen. Believing in the old solution, the early Ming rulers embarked on the Great Wall anew, but this time in stone and brick. Over nearly 300 years, they rebuilt and extended walls across the north, often on foundations of earlier works. The Ming Wall that survives today is quite different from Qin's earth ramps. It is a stone and brick fortification, often about 7 to 8 meters high, running over mountain crests and cutting through passes. According to Britannica, the Great Wall actually consists of numerous walls, many of them parallel, built over some 2 millennia. The version visitors see today is mostly this Ming-era stone wall, which the British Encyclopedia says dates from the Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644 K, and runs for some 5,500 miles, 8,850 K, from east to west, from Mount Hu in Liaoning Province to Jiayu Pass in Gansu Province. UNESCO likewise notes that the wall begins at Shanhaiguan in the east and ends at Jiayuguan in the west. Many great passes were fortified. In the east, Shanhaiguan, Mountain Sea Pass, guards a coastal gap. To the west, Jiayu, Great Creek Pass, overlooks Gansu's deserts. Hundreds of watchtowers dot the line. The wall here snakes over ridges like a stone dragon. Interestingly, only about 1/4 of its route is built in the usual sense. Much of the boundary is natural terrain. Britannica notes that roughly 25% of the wall consists of rivers, hills, and mountain ridges used as barriers, and about 70% is actually walled construction. Sections not walled might have been covered by pits or ditches for descents. Building in stone made the wall more durable, but the terrain often dictated its character. In flat areas, it could be 5 to 8 meters high and several meters wide at the base. Over mountains, it could be narrower, its steps and towers following the contour. Many of the Ming towers still stand, their curved crenellations visible. Some unlucky guards had garrisons inside, others perched lonely on peaks for months, scanning the horizon. A traveler today on a Ming Wall section can see how thick the battlements are, wide enough for several soldiers to walk side by side, with a parapet of brick about a meter high for cover. Building the wall, labor and legend. Across the dynasties, building the wall was a colossal effort. It involved emperors ordering conscripts of soldiers, commoners, and even criminals to carry earth and stones. The workers faced danger from the environment as much as from any foe: harsh winters in the mountains, summer heat in the deserts, starvation or disease. Chinese records from various eras imply tremendous human cost. For example, the Tang-era geographer Zhu Yuanzhang, later Ming founder, claimed Qin Shi Huang used millions of people and that only tens of thousands survived, though modern historians think such figures are legendary. The Sui records we saw literally counted 500,000 dead from their one campaign. It's hard to know exact numbers. Archaeologists have not found mass graves under the wall, more on that later, and solid census records were lacking. But it's safe to say tens of thousands of laborers likely died over the centuries from exhaustion, malnutrition, or accidents. One thing is certain: no one built the wall willingly. There are stories, for example, that during the Sui and Tang periods, even the widows of dead soldiers were forced into labor when manpower short fell. Official edicts and folktales alike emphasize that builders were pressed into service. If Chinese folk memory exaggerates with mythical millions, it underscores just how hard the building was. An enduring folk legend, Meng Jiangnu's tale captures this human cost. According to the story, Meng Jiangnu's husband was conscripted to build a wall. He died far from home, and when Meng Jiangnu came seeking him, she wailed by the wall so uncontrollably that a stretch of it collapsed, revealing his bones. This poignant legend symbolizes the countless nameless laborers who perished and were buried in the wall's shadow. Importantly, archaeological surveys have not unearthed actual human remains or funeral pits under the surviving wall today. As noted by some sources, the legend remains a legend. No confirmed tombs of wall builders have been found, but the story persists as testament to the suffering involved. Success and failure. Did it work? The wall's massive scale suggests it was built to stop invaders cold, but history is mixed. In some cases, it served as a deterrent.